Welcome to a Schmoopydady class set review experience. I'm your host, as per usual, Schmoopydady. In case the first time you watched one of my videos, I'm a monthly Hearthstone Wild Legend player who typically hits Legend near the first of the month, and after that I goof off. When I goof off, I play your decks, and I'd like to talk about the new class sets that were fully revealed today, otherwise known as Azeroth's Most Wanted card reveals. Now, I'm actually kind of excited for these cards. I think they might be not quite enough to do enough in standard at what they want to do. However, in wild, I find like a lot of these cards seem to have some spare pieces. As per usual, what I'll do is I'll go through each set class by class. The 4 classes that we got this time are Priest, Rogue, Warlock, and Warrior. Let's start with the Priest. The legendary for Priest is Wraith Van Geist. Battle Cry, resurrect your minions that were reborn in this game. They attack random enemy minions. It's a 7 mana 5/5. I don't see this having a lot of application in Wild. I think people are going to try it. I think people are going to try it as top end in Reach Equilibrium Priest, aka White Miracle Rogue. I don't think it's needed. I think we're kind of at a weird spot where, okay, where do you put what do you put as that one of minion in that deck? I prefer Handmaiden. Some people prefer Razor Scale. This would be an interesting top end finisher. This is the first time I'm noticing that they attack a random enemy minion, but it is a 7 mana 5/5. And in theory, the game ends turn 5, turn 6 when you're playing that deck. What's cute is it's any minions that were reborn. So I'm assuming if you give reborn to a minion that doesn't otherwise have reborn and it comes back. So like, let's say you're doing something goofy like Starship Priest and bringing back giant starships with reborn. These will come back and attack enemy minions. I mean, that's funny, but not very practical. I don't know. I think it's kind of like a greedy top end card. It's not quite good enough for Wild, but it's fun. It'll kick the shit out of something in Arena. We've got a 3 mana 2/3 Sinful Steed Reborn. This is Reborn with full health and enchantments. This is a card I'm actually kind of looking at as being sort of nasty. It doesn't have Taunt. It doesn't have Rush. But the fact that it comes back with whatever you enchanted it with, we're in a format that's got Divine Spirit. We're in a format that's got Power Word Shield. We're in a format where you can give this thing elusive on your own turn. You can make copies of it. You could give it. I don't know. I'm looking at this as like this would be like a nutty. This would be like a nutty tempo minion in like an Inner Fire deck, like maybe 3-4 years ago. Is that good enough for now? It might be. I'm not gonna totally dismiss it and poo-poo it because like give this thing a couple buffs so that it's kind of unkillable, and then you kind of go from there. It's interesting. I'm going to call it interesting. 3 mana is a lot. Passing turn 3 is a lot. And yeah, you can trade into it and just kill it off, but maybe after you've already done like an embalming, a palm reading turn on your hand the turn before, and you drop a bunch of +1 health, +2 health stuff on it, it's a little bit harder to remove. Push for lethal the next turn. I don't know. It's interesting. It's interesting. I'm not going to completely write it off, but 3 mana might just be too much to overcome. Slimem. Destroy all minions for 4 mana. Each player gets a 3-cost spell that resummons theirs. I actually really like this card. It's Shadow. It's Control. There's no stipulations as far as destroying the board. It just destroys the board, right? Doesn't silence the board, so death rattles aren't silenced, but death rattles aren't really that big a premium in Wild anyway. The opponent having to pay 3 mana to bring stuff back, that's still a turn they're not hitting you in the face. So you've destroyed them all. They're not hitting you in the face. They take their turn to bring them back for 3 mana. Maybe all the buffs that were on that board are maybe gone. I could see this being a decent stall tool. It's Shadow, so you can play it with Benny if you really want to play it with Benny. You could play it in a deck. You could play it in a deck where the death rattles actually matter or the reborn actually matters and get that stuff to go hit face because the opponent's board's going to be empty too. Interesting. I think it's interesting. I think it's fine in a Reno deck as just like a one of like bleh. let's coin this out on turn 3. Let's play this on turn 4, and then just buy a turn for us to drop something. It'd be a good pile card. Yeah, I like it. I like it as a even though you get 3 mana to restore your board as an attacking player, it's not necessarily something that you want to do, right? Especially since on turn 7, here's what's really cute. On turn 7, you could play this and then restore your own board. But but your opponent's now behind on tempo because you've restored your board before they can restore theirs. So you get to dictate the trades later. Yeah, this is a really cute card. Very tempo forward. I could see it kicking the shit out of stuff in Arena and Standard. It might ultimately be too slow for Wild, but it's a really cute card. Follow the Ghosts is a 2-mana shadow spell. Summon a 2/1 Ghost with Reborn. Give a playable card in your hand this effect for a turn. I think for Priest this is a little bit like we don't need this. Is this good enough tempo in like a low to the ground aggro deck where you're like playing 1 mana pirates and those 1 mana pirates just start snowballing? I don't know. It's interesting. This is another one that's making me wonder. It's like, huh. That's a fair amount of tempo if you pair it with something that costs 1 or 0 mana. And it's playable card, so it's guaranteed to be something that you can play until you don't have something that you can play. I could see it possibly as a 1-of in aggro. I don't think it goes anywhere near anything remotely slow. You definitely don't want it in a combo deck. I think it's either got a home in aggro with somebody trying it with a bunch of like 1-drops low to the ground, but I'm not holding my breath that'll be effective or worth it. But it's kind of like a board and a card, isn't it? Like 2 mana, every other card you play after this is going to basically double up its presence on the board. That's not ignorable. I would at least need to test it. It might ultimately not be good, but I at least need to test it. Lingering Spirits, a 4-mana 3/3 undead. Death Rattle, restore 3 health to your hero. Excess healing damages a random enemy. It doesn't have taunt. It's not useful. Haunt. It's a 3-mana shadow spell. Give a minion +2/+3 reborn and taunt. Haunt is going to be really nasty off of a discover. The fact that it's giving a minion reborn and taunt, it's going to be really nasty when you throw it on a Sinful Steed. That seems like an evil 6-mana play, but it's going to be a 6-mana play. You're going to have to take a long time to get there. Can you pay this for less than 6 mana in our format? Yes. Would you ever put it in Shadow Priest as a way to fight for board as a 1-of? Probably not. It's probably too expensive for that. I think this is just a little bit too expensive to be worth it, but the fact that you're giving a minion reborn and taunt, so they have to chew through it, and then also that thing is going to come back with 1 health, I'm going to lose to it. I know I'm going to lose to it at some point. It's probably going to be nutty off discovers and not really good enough to run main deck. Last but not least, Spectre Specialist. It's a 3-mana 3/2 typeless minion. Battlecry, give a friendly minion reborn. If it already has reborn, summon a copy of it. Somebody's going to play this in Reach Equilibrium Priest. It's going to be completely unnecessary and totally greedy, and I hate it. Seems pretty mid. You're basically paying for a 3-mana 3/2 reborn. Like you're basically paying for an effect that we pay 0 mana for at times in our format. You're basically paying for like a Bloodfin Raptor, but an extra mana. Doesn't seem very good. Okay. Priest. Overall, like some of this first time that I really sat down and really looked at these cards. So what are my overall views of Priest? I think I'm interested in Sinful Steed, Slimum, and Follow the Ghosts. I probably have my highest hopes on the Slimum, and the Follow the Ghosts I think are interesting. I would try it in some sort of an aggro. I would try it at least in an aggro Priest and see if it makes the cut. It not going face and not being damaged obviously is a downside, and at some point the deck very early on in the game pivots from being a board-based deck to a burn deck, and so this is not incredibly useful in that scenario. However, there are some games where you're up against other aggro, and having that board presence and having it be sticky board presence with the reborn, that's kind of an attractive proposition. I don't know. I'd keep an eye on Follow the Ghost, but I don't have a really high hopes. I just think it's interesting enough that we'd try it. Sinful Steed looks like it could be turbo broken, but I think it's just way too slow. So Priest, we got one decent card in Wild, I think. At least, I think. Rogue cards. Let's look at Matthias Shaw. Stealth. Whenever a friendly stealth minion attacks, reduce the cost of a random card in your hand by 3. That's 3 is the magic number. When you are reducing stuff by 3 mana, magical things seem to happen on the field. And all these minions, all these cards are sort of stealth related one way or another. Except for, of course, the very next card I'm going to read. Do I think this is good enough? 4 mana 4/4 for a really weird effect that cheats mana. Unless you got a board of stealths, I don't really see it happening. But if it becomes a reasonable pattern of play to bank up stuff like Spy Mistress, a card that we've sort of put away for a long time, or other little shitty 1 health stealth guys like the little Worgen dude, and then like, oh, we coin Matthias on 3, and then start reducing a bunch of shit in our hand, and now we've got a big explosive mana cheat turn because a bunch of these cheap little easy to hide shitters with stealth have been hiding out, and now they're all super attacking. That could be really interesting. I'm not gonna write it off. It seems bad conceptually from my gut instinct of this is a 4 mana 4/4. But turn 3, turn 4 to have a big mana cheat turn, do a bunch of things, in a format that doesn't have a ton of AoE right now, could be interesting. Could be interesting. I would at least play with it. That's for sure. Disguised Operative can be played on either side. Rush, Death Rattle. Your opponent draws 2 cards. The fact that you can play this on the opponent's side and then kill it and then draw 2 cards, or you could use it for your own tempo to beat the opponent's head in. I really like the design of this card. It's just so much better than like the Shaman card that just does overload. 3 health is a really rough break point, right? You're giving your opponent a Kirin Tormage to bean you in the head with. Yes, I know you overload them for 2 mana, but like, okay, whatever. So they're just taking their turn off a little bit. Is this going to be good? Yeah, probably not. But like the downside is not crazy. The downside isn't crazy, and I could even see people using Disguised Operative in some sort of dog shit like mill rogue type situation where it's a 1 mana death rattle, your opponent draws 2 cards. So find some way, Dane, go find a way to trigger the death rattle 1 billion times and you're good to go. It's kind of funny if you think about it. I could see it having some application, even if it's not necessarily a meta application. Tricks of the Trade, deal 1 damage. If a stealth minion attacked while holding this, deal 3 instead. It seems really fucking niche. Seems really niche and unnecessary. It's a 1 mana deal 3 when we've already got Sinister Strike. That goes face. No thanks. Follow the Footsteps. I liked this card when I saw this. Discover a stealth minion. Give it this effect for a turn. So, you hopefully try to find something that's cheap that has stealth and drop it down. I don't know what the pool looks like for stealth minions that this is discovering into in Wild, but I think there's some really expensive, shitty stealth minions, so you can't really chain this together and you can't really cheat stuff out. It's probably not very good. I think it's cute. It's a fun arena card where you're like, oh man, I only got 1 mana to spend and no cards in hand. Haha, I follow the footsteps and I bring the board back. It's not really a Wild card. Silent Strike is a 2 mana shadow spell that reads, give a minion +3 attack. If it's stealth, deal its attack to a random enemy minion. This is interesting. Now, the reason why this is interesting is because we're finally getting SI7 support after all these years. And one of the plays that the SI7 rogue would do, the actual trinkets themselves weren't that bad, just like the overall support of SI7 minions sucked. Right, SI minions sucked. We didn't have anything really good to do with them. And that was when we had 1 mana passage. But the fun thing that you would do in Standard is you would get your questline reward, Scabs, down, right? You drop him down. He's a 5 mana 7/7, and then you'd give him Stealth for a turn. And after giving him Stealth, you drop a Battlegrounds Battlemaster and beam the opponent in the head for like 20. That was the best thing that you could do with SI7 Rogue. This in a format, well, we have prep, but I guess so does whatever. We got prep. We could play this for 0. We could drop scabs. We could give him stealth, and then we could throw this down. And deals 10 to a random enemy minion. If it went face, I'd like it. But it doesn't go face. And it's a little bit like we could just do cold blood. Fuck it. It sucks. I'm reading it for the first time and I'm talking myself out of it. This looks like it sucks. All right, 2 mana, 1/3 stealth. After this attacks, draw a card. SI7 supplier. I see SI7 support and I see draw. Sure, let's do it. Let's make some SI7 rogue happen. I will definitely be cooking that later this expansion. 3 mana, 1/3 SI7 Slayer stealth. Whenever a friendly stealth minion attacks, give it +2/+2. So this can kind of lie in wait, and as long as you've got a bunch of stealth minions all sort of cooked up, you can drop this fucker and make him like a mountain giant. After how many minions attack? The scaling seems kind of slow. I'm gonna try it. It's more SI7 cards to play. It's more support for the quest line. We're gonna see play, right? We're gonna try and make it work. We're gonna try and make it work. Okay. So what do I think about the rogue cards? 3 of the cards right off the bat are duds. I'm gonna withhold judgment on the legendary Matthias Shaw because this in theory, if you get a board full of stealth stuff, could be a lot of attacks. And we even have, like 1 mana give your whole board stealth in our format. And we have counterfeit coins and prep and easy ways to do that. So if those minions that you give stealth work, this could be a crazy amount of mana cheat. Like if we just like rip conceal on a board, it doesn't even have to be a stealth board. If we're allowed to like drop a bunch of pirates and then give them all stealth, and then drop Matthias Shaw, and then just like have them all attack and like, I don't know, reduce your, not salad dressing, but I don't know. We'll come up with some kind of giant payoff. Drop your Neptulon for 0 on turn 4. Is that good enough? I mean, that's a crazy enough power swing that could actually work. I don't know. That's interesting. He's interesting. I can't write him off because I think there's some cool shit we can do with him. Disguised Operator, shockingly, looks like it's nuanced enough. We could do some interesting things, especially considering it's a death rattle, especially considering it's drawing your opponent cards, especially considering you could give it to the opponent and draw you cards. If you can kill it easily. I kind of like Disguised Operator. It's only 1 mana. It's overstated. And also possibly you can use the downside as an upside. So the SI7 cards are SI7 cards. I'm going to play them. I'm going to cook an SI7 rogue. I think one of the things that I've sort of committed myself to the second half of this expansion, especially once we get the class sets, is I'm going to do a little bit more cooking myself to try to make some functional off-meta decks, and we'll make an SI7 rogue that you can be proud of, chat. I promise. You'll be proud of to delete it. Okay, Warlock cards. Godfather Kazakis. He's a 3 mana 3/3. Love the amount of mana that we're paying for him. Battle Cry. This is Warlock cards now. Plot a custom sham trial, and then choose the trial's length. So we're going to click on the boy. And here are all the related cards. Okay? You can take control. You get to pick 2 of these. You can take control of a random enemy minion. You can draw 3 cards. You can summon 3 random 3-cost minions. You can force each minion to attack another minion. You can reduce the cost of minions in your hand by 2. You can steal 2 cards from your opponent's hand. You can give minions in your hand in battlefield +3/+3. You can restore 12 health to your hero, or you can summon a Void Lord. And then you get to choose, after picking those 2 things, how long does it take for the trial to do its thing? You can pay 0 mana. You can pay 0 mana, and the trial will finish in 4 turns. I'm assuming that means it casts in 4 turns. You can pay 4 mana, and the trial finishes at the end of your next turn, so you could play it on curve. Or you could pay 7 mana and finish the trial immediately. So kind of like a late game, like, boom, here's all my stuff all at once. I think this is a powerful enough effect. It's definitely going to see play in standard. I could see it being played in piles in wild. One of the things that I like it for, like something like TikTok Warlock, is look at it this way: you're playing a 3 mana 3/3, and you're adding a card to your hand in the deck that wants to end up filling its hand anyway. You could in theory play your Sham Trial for 4 mana, and then Finley, and then the turn that you're doing your TikTok stuff, you also have something else going on. I don't know what you would pick, but like, you can make it into like a clear turn, or you could make it into a heal turn, or you could make it into let's drop a Void Daddy turn. I think that's really interesting. I think it'll definitely see play in wild, particularly in piles. Is it good enough to run in faster stuff? I think that remains to be seen. Getting a Void Lord on turn 5 seems pretty fucking good. It seems pretty decent, especially if it gets +3/+3, or you choose to take control of a random enemy minion, or you choose to draw 3 cards. Yeah, that effect seems kind of nuts. I don't know. I think Godfather Kazakus is going to be insane. Nefane would yell at me if I didn't include this in the set review. We were just talking today. I introduced him to Keith Numbers, and he was looking at an old Keith Numbers set review. And to quote the great Keith Numbers, so Team 5 is basically 2 speeds when it comes to designing Warlock cards. Fucking useless or completely broken. Guess which camp this one falls into? Usually it's a bad one and it's not broken. All right. Follow the Evidence is a 1 mana rare spell. No, it's not a rare. It's an epic, dumbass. It's a 1 mana epic spell. Put a 3/3 imp formant into the enemy deck. Give a playable card in your hand this effect for a turn. The imp formant gets summoned when drawn for your opponent. It goes into your, remember, this goes into your opponent's deck. It's a 3 mana 3/3 imp that has lifesteal, and it is a demon. I am going to make an Imp Warlock, and I am going to use this. And the nice thing about Imp Warlock is when you play Follow the Evidence, Imp Warlock or Imp Lock tends to have a lot of low-cost cards associated with it. We've got Imp Shipments. We've got Tiny Desk Imps. We could, in theory, trigger this a fair amount on one turn. Now, it's Plagues all over again. It's Bombs all over again, chat. Cards that you shuffle into the opponent's deck generally don't do dick. They don't do jack shit. And this in particular definitely doesn't do shit, because your opponent's drawing the cards, and all they do is put a minion on your side of the board, right? Like it's not even taxing their cards or dealing damage. It's just turning off old Reno cards. It's not really doing anything. In fact, I think the whole reason why we as Hearthstone players enjoy these effects so much is because we want to feel like we're interacting with the opponent on the opponent's turn. We're really not. We're taking turns, right? My opponent does something, and then I get to do something, and then they get to do something, and I get to do something. It's a game of telephone. It's not really a game where I'm interacting with the opponent per se, right? It doesn't have to be, really. Especially not on their turn, right? On Yu-Gi-Oh! Or in Magic, you can stop what the opponent's doing as they're trying to do it, and that's not really what we do in Hearthstone. So when other players are drawing cards that are in their deck and you put them there, you get to feel like you interacted with the opponent on their turn. You really didn't, and honestly, the odds of them drawing those cards kind of sucks. So we sort of we kind of like fall in love with these cards, even though they're not very effective and they don't typically do what you want them to do. I like it because I think there are a lot of this is a way to put a lot of imps into the opponent's deck, but are they going to draw those imps? No, probably fucking not. But let me dream, chat. Let me dream. Do I think this is good? No. Am I going to play with it? Absolutely. We're making an imp lock, chat. Cabal Mastermind. It's a 5-mana 5/5 taunt. Battlecry. Whenever you summon an imp formant this game, give it +2/+2. So, it's a battle cry. So hopefully you're summoning a bunch of imp formants, and when you drop this sucker down, it's huge. It's huge on curve. Dude, there's a great chance that you have summoned 0 imp formants by the time this thing's going down. This card sucks. Frame Job. Destroy 2 enemy minions. Discover a minion in the enemy deck to put on top. All right, so you can force. Okay. I hate flavor. I hate the term flavor when we talk about cards. Okay, so like, look, Mugsy's about to get ganked by Kazakus in the artwork, and Kazakus is wearing a Jade Claws, right? So he's trying to set up the Jade Gang for knocking off Mugsy or some ogre look-alike, right? I guess I shouldn't just assume it's Mugsy. I'm ogre racist. Um, so I love the flavor of the artwork. Okay, but it's like, I'm not actually eating the fucking cards, so I hate the term flavor. But we're destroying 2 minions, and then we get to discover the imps that we put in our deck. We get to discover an imp and put on the top of the deck. It's such a weak effect, and it's 5 goddamn mana. Uh, for what's basically the corrupted form of a spell we've already had in Hearthstone, and it's not Shadow. The fact that it's not Shadow might be a benefit, because there's a lot of times we want to tutor. There's a lot of times that we want to tutor shadow spells, specific shadow spells to get into our hand, whether that's Blood Bloom, whether that's Defile, whatever. So the fact that it's not Shadow is not a bad thing per se. I think the real dream is somebody's going to come up with the ultimate greedy play, where they're going to do Frame Job and find the opponent's win condition and play Nomelia and Gnome Feratu and delete it, and you're going to go, ha 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 ha, I am NZT and I made the greediest play on earth, and the opponent explodes and everybody claps for you, right? Like that's the dream that they're going to do on Reddit, right? But like, I think this is supposed to have synergy with the imps so that you're summoning imps, but like, it's turn 5, man. It's turn 5. Cabal Masterminds over here just crying. All right, Harsh Sentence. This is going to actually see some play, regardless of what kind of deck it's on. 2 mana, enemy minions cost 2 more next turn. Put 2 3/3 informants into the enemy deck. So this does a couple things. Number 1, it is going to delay some sort of on-curve turn that your opponent is going to try to do. 2, it turns off OG Reno cards by putting 2 of the same card into the opponent's deck. And 3, it's going to cook Big Shaman, because not only can they not play their Muck Morpher, but now their Muck Morpher could turn into a 4/4 lifesteal. Nothing that doesn't have Rush or Dick. I think people are going to play Harsh Sentence a bit. They're going to try it out in aggro decks like Disco and see like, hey, is this a nice thing to do to kind of turn off OG Reno cards and or block my opponent when I'm paying almost no mana to do my plays? I can still do stuff like discard cards for 1 mana or 0 mana and get board presence while my opponent is crying about Harsh Sentence. I think we're going to see it in Talk Lock as a way to stall combo decks and also try to be a little bit disruptive. Yeah, I think we're going to see Harsh Sentence a lot in Wild, because it's really not that much mana for a fair amount of disruption. The disruption doesn't even have to be very good. It's just like, we have Cold Feet at home, but in some ways a side grade to Cold Feet. Two can be a lot depending on what the breakpoints are. All right, Corrupt Constable is a 4 mana 3/5 with the battle cry. If an enemy deck has any informants, move 1 to the top and give it +2/+2. I mean, this is glacially slow. I'm going to play it because I'm going to have to. Probably. I might end up cutting it. I don't know. This is glacially slow. And last but not least, Cabal Conspirator is a 2 mana 2/3. Death Rattle. Put 2 3/3 informants into the enemy deck. They summon for you when drawn. Yeah, that's what they say in the fucking... That's what it says in the text. They just added an extra line. It says in the text... It says in the... Why did they add this last line? Ah, shit. They just gave us a River Croc, man. All right, it's a River Croc. I guess you're going to do it in the Imp deck because it's a River Croc, but it's like... Man, it's a River Croc with a Death Rattle. All right. What do you think about Warlocks? Godfather Kazakus is busted. I'm actually more convinced the more I think about this card. This card's kind of broke. It's going to be cool, but it's a little bit broke. Follow the evidence. It's going to be fun. It's not good. Cabal Mastermind is dog shit. Frame Job, I'm pretty sure it's dog shit, but like, we might see some utility if you want to use it in a scenario where you can't use a shadow spell. Harsh Sentence, I think, is going to see some pretty regular play. Corrupt Constable's fucking useless. Cabal Conspirators, like, the only thing saving it is it only costs 2 mana, but I'm pretty sure it's fucking useless. All right, last but not least, we'll talk about Wanted poster too, but I don't know if my head can get out of the way of Wanted poster. Can my head get out of the way of Wanted? Can we get my head out of the way of Wanted? I mean, I could move my camera, but that'd be too easy. All right, let's talk about the warrior cards. Pirates, chat, we got pirates back. Warrior cards. All right, let's start with Captain Crowley. Your cannoneers fire an additional shot. Battle cry, summon 2 1/1 cannoneers. Okay. Cannoneers are 1/1 1-mana pirates that at the end of your turn deal 1 damage to a random enemy. Is this the most busted token that Blizzard has ever printed? I mean, so here's what I'm thinking. If we ever went back to like Sunken City, right? Sunken City meta, where pirate aggro is premium. You got a bunch of 1/1 shitters kind of running around, and these cannoneers picking off the opponent's 1/1 shitter board, that's kind of a powerful effect to me. Or even, let's say it's the normal scenario where you're up against something slow, and your opponent, and you're the pirate warrior, and your opponent's doing fuck all to remove your board. They're just trying to do their combo deck. The cannoneer basically has charge. If you look at it that way, on an empty board, it's like they've given us back patches. Back patches has charge, right? It's cute. I like it. I like the token. I think the tokens are good. I don't know if we want to necessarily lean into the effect by improving the effect a ton, but the fact that that they exist, and Crowley's a pretty cool top end. So he's really not a 5-mana 4/5. He's really a 5-mana 6/7. Jesus Christ. He's a 5-mana 6/7, and the little shitters on either side of him are not dealing 1 damage each at the end of the turn. It's dealing 4. So it's kind of functionally giving the original body charge on an empty board. Yeah, I like the Cannoneer tokens. I think they're kind of cool. I think this whole Cannoneer effect, and also the next card, Blast Powder Engineers, a 2-mana 2/3 pirate. On your turn, friendly pirates deal more damage. People have been calling this a worse Void Touch Attendant. This is not a worse Void Touch Attendant. This is a better Void Touch Attendant, or even a side grade Void Touch Attendant. If pirates are going to come back, if Pirate Warrior is going to come back, it's going to be on the back of Blast Powder Engineer and the Cannoneers being absolutely nutty on an empty board. That's what I think. I think Pirate Warrior got some high quality cards. Follow the Fuse. It's 1 mana. Deal 2 damage to a random enemy. Give a playable pirate on your hand this effect for a turn. I would play this in Pirate Warrior. This is literally like a 1 mana cannon. And the thing is, it's like, you play this and then it chains, right? Like every pirate you play this turn has this effect. Is that how I understand it? If it's just like it's a 1 mana deal, if it's just 1 mana deal 4 because it only attaches to the next pirate, okay, fine, whatever. But I think it's supposed to be like, then the next pirate has its effect, then the next pirate has its effect. And we have a bunch of 1/1 shitters in our hand in theory. So, like, you could deal a significant amount of damage pretty quickly with Follow the Fuse, and it's a random enemy. It could go face, or it could hit the enemy board, and in an aggro matchup, you'd probably want it to clear off the board. So, like, I'm not sleeping on Follow the Fuse. I think this could be good. Hand Cannoneer. After your hero attacks, your Cannoneers fire. This is dog shit. You're not playing this card in Pirate Warrior. I'm sorry. You're not making me play this card in Pirate Warrior. I'm going to play Hogger. I'm going to have 2 Ankars. I'm going to have 2 patches. I'm going to have 2 Captain Crowleys. And I'm going to have 2 quests. And I'm going to be really happy with that. And I'm not playing Hand fucking Cannoneer. Land Ho seems 1 mana too expensive. Draw 2 cards. Summon 2 1/1 Cannoneers. It's refill in the pirate deck, which is really cute. I do like the Cannoneers. I don't think the Cannoneers suck. I think this card pairs very nicely with the Hand Cannon, where you basically have the hand cannon loaded up and then play Land Ho, and then the Cannoneers, you're drawing 2 cards, and the Cannoneers kind of cover you for a turn with the weapon swing, but we're not fucking doing that because this card sucks dick. So I think Land Ho sucks. Cannon Master. Do we remember how broken Fillet Fighter felt? Well, we just got Fillet Fighter, but for Warrior. It's a 1 mana 3/1. Battlecry, get a 1/1 Cannoneer that deals 1 damage to a random enemy at the end of the turn. So we're basically, instead of Fillet Fighter, we're getting turn 1, we're getting a 1/3, a 1/1 that deals 1 damage to whatever's on board, or the enemy's faced, and 2 patches. So it's like a really low to the ground but wide board that then you can then coin out a Hosen and get real big real quick. And oh, by the way, the Cannoneer is still spraying itself around. I think this is a good card. I also think Hook and Heave is a decent card. For 2 mana, summon up, discover a pirate, so you can hopefully discover a good pirate to play on curve the next turn, right? Summon 2/1/1 Cannoneers. I think this is a very good card. So like of the warrior class set, I think we got 1, 2, 3, 4, possibly 5 quality pirate cards. This is the kind of thing that would bring back an archetype like Pirate Warrior. Worth noting that the Blast Powder Engineer, on your turn, friendly pirates deal 1 more damage. This includes trades as well, so your pirates can trade up more easily into bigger body boards. And it stacks too. Let's put a second Blast Powder Engineer down, and all of a sudden, holy shit, we're dealing a lot of damage and being very swarmy. I think that's very, very, very good. So I expect Pirate Warrior to make a comeback. Do I think it's going to be a tier 1 deck? No. Do I think it's going to be a tier 3 deck? Maybe. Do I think it's going to be a tier 2 deck? Probably not. It might be like a tier 2.5 deck. You'd kind of take that. I like Wild when Wild has a Pirate Warrior involved. I know that people hate Pirate Warrior because it beat up a bunch of noobs and they cried and they took their lunch money. And like, to a certain extent, there are dog shit scrub players that hate Murloc Paladins, they hate Pirate Warriors, they hate Imbue Mages, they hate Zerg DKs, if they unnerfed Zerg DK, but they didn't, Lamau. They hate Thief Priest, right? Like, there are these decks that absolutely bully the bottom of ladder, but I do think Wild is better when we have swarmy tribal aggro as an option to play. That's not just mechs. That's not just totems. If we have like multiple flavors of a swarmy tribal aggro deck, I think that's a good thing for the format. I think it helps diversify the format. I want to see Pirate Warrior come back. I'm going to hope it happens. All right, wanted poster we will try to make. What works best? Is it here? Wanted, even my face, let me just like make my face go away. Ah, my face! I'm still here, chat. I know you don't have object permanence, but it's okay. I'm still alive. Okay? I'm talking to you as a disembodied voice. Discover a minion that costs 5 or more, give it prepare. This seems too random to me, but this seems like it could be absolutely flat fucking busted in Arena. Like, can you imagine like a limited discover pool where it's just like, oh man, we got some crazy hits in Arena because we only got like 5 minions that like are a little bit above this. It could get kind of crazy, but it seems slow, right? We're not playing this in Wild. Overall, what are my hopes and dreams for these class sets? I think we have some. I think for Priest, we have some things that we sniff that probably don't do anything. I think for Rogue, we have some interesting toys that we can play with and be entertained by. I'm interested to see if Matthias Shaw triggers just for minions that have stealth, or whether minions that are given stealth and then attack also trigger Shaw. I think that makes old cards like Conceal, that used to be like, discarded and forgotten, suddenly have some application, and I like when that happens, unless it like dominates the format and then I cry about it. Warlock at least got Kazakus, but I think the imp package looks, and Harsh Sentence, but the imp package looks kind of like okay. And Captain Crowley and the gang look, pretty decent, except for Landho and Hand Cannoneer. I really don't like Landho. I think Landho is like really weak and slow, but like the other cards look like they could, and the hand cannon sucks, but the other cards look like they could be kind of like okay. They look like they could be okay. Like we could make some kind of a playable, possibly decent Pirate Warrior. The question is going to be whether or not do we want to try and make it a risky skipper deck? Do we want to make it a risky skipper deck and gets out some warped hoofs? Possibly, possibly not. Wanted poster sucks. Anyway, that's my set review with a wild side kind of like spin. And if you enjoyed this content, please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing. on my YouTube channel.